I am Matsushita from CPE-HE. Now, today, including the video lecture, we had 6 speeches. And I actually, unlike 3 other colleagues who made speeches, regarding MOOC and SPOC and ICT use is not my expertise, but I have many opportunities and occasion to listen and hear about this. And some of you on the floor may be expertise in this area or may be interested in the university education, however, are not involved in these practices on the day-to-day basis. I stand somewhere in between the middle. And so I would like to summarize the discussion points of all the lectures made today. We heard a variety of lecture and speeches. And this is the way that I summarized. And this is the timeline. This is the space. And I have Professor Lee's presentation is not showing here, but this is how I map the presentations. Now, Professor Taguchi has been working from 1997 till today for over 20 years in Kyoto University and trying to visualize and share the education experience and pedagogical experience. She introduced some trials and error process, and Professor Sakai focused on MOOC and SPOC. Actually, the contents that Professor Taguchi presented include what's developed by Professor Sakai. So we've developed one thing and did not work well and tried to develop the next. I mean, these are the trial and error process we have experienced. But with the advent of MOOC, it seems that a variety of things are going through innovation and expanding in an exponential manner. And Dr. Iyoshi, Professor Iyoshi, focuses on 2025 and started 11 years ago and watches the older timeline until 2025 and talked about the future. And from the 1990s of the era of E-education and also the upcoming T-education with the longer horizon, Professor Iyoshi looked at the ICT-Enhanced higher education. And from Seoul University, Seoul National University, Professor Lim talked about the pedagogy from a variety of perspectives and mainly introduced the activities of SNU. And the professional learning and development was part of his presentation. And these are the activities that we faculty have to do, and what extensive perspective should we have to promote comprehensive professor development. I believe that he presented the key points in a systematical manner. And Professor Pon is, I think, similar to Professor Iyoshi in their mindset. And their activities initiatives are very interesting. And I'm interested in assessment, but using learning analytics actually in CPE-HE Center. We are analyzing the students' learning through MOOC, but it's not successful yet, and we are still thinking how best we can analyze the students' learning. And Professor Taguchi is taking leadership, and so we will be able to learn a lot from Professor Pon's experience. And So these are the mapping of all the presentations made today, and this is what I would like to highlight now, including some of the comments made by Professor Kita. Sorry, I have only in Japanese. But when MOOC came out in 2012, what I was feeling is that now we have two major streams. The shift from teacher-centered to learner or student-centered are the common of these two streams. But when we look at curriculum, especially teaching and learning, especially in case of curriculum, for example, one part we systematize. We have a systemic curriculum with the firmly built framework. For example, in Europe, they have a European qualification framework, and other similar frameworks are provided to build the higher education in Europe, to promote the standardization. In a similar manner in Japan, Professor Kita raised a question to Professor Iyoshi about the three policies: diploma, curriculum, and admission policies are set and established to systematize curriculum. This has been promoted by the Ministry of Education in Japan. On the other hand, another stream is that with the advent of a MOOC, it seems that it will break down the curriculum, established curriculum. Now, in the past, the students have to complete all the curriculum in order to receive the diploma, and the quality has to be assured by the institution. But now, with the advent of MOOC, each course, you can get the credit for each course. And the quality is assured for each course. And this is a face-to-face, and this is online mode. And the response to globalization, the legacy approach is regionalization. Within the region, we have the common framework being established, but on the ICT, regardless of the national border, the participating and member universities share a global platform. And the participating universities here in this side, Japan, all the universities and institutions participating have to set and establish the curriculum, and here only part of the universities, willing universities, participate in the alliance, and the participating university are this program curriculum only closed for the on-campus university, whereas MOOC are open for anyone, no age limit, like 80 and 90 years old can participate, and also the diploma and the credit. The credit in Japan, one credit requires 45 hours of study a week, and each credit is measured by time, study time. In case of online, the time spent is not known, and so the learning outcome will be the basis for providing certificate of completion. And so these two streams are quite different from each other. However, what I felt through today's program is that these two streams are coming closer to each other to converge, and a blended modality is appearing. And the blended blends face-to-face and online learning, and also the overall framework are approaching to each other and converging and to blend each other. And so blended teaching and learning, which was introduced today, and also K-MOOC and J-MOOC were talked about today, and also Professor Lee talked about Chinese University MOOC. And the language used is different, like in case of Japan, not all students can take English courses. So J-MOOC are provided in Japanese mainly, and in Chinese MOOC are provided in Chinese language. And so in this manner, the MOOC is developed and delivered within certain region. And given that's the case, then the target students who can participate can be limited. MOOC started with a complete open, but as Professor Sakai introduced today, in case of a SPOC is being produced for the students on campus, or students who take the course. We once introduced Professor Eric Mazul from Harvard University in this program some time ago. Professor Mazur said that I'm not going to go do a MOOC because Harvard charges a high expensive fee. And so we have to focus our attention to the students on campus. That's the responsibility of the professors and faculty on campus. That's why I'm not going to go do MOOC. That's what was Professor Mazul's comment. But in case of SPOC, you can use the MOOC as a tool to enhance the learning of Kyoto University students. And so in this manner, the MOOC and the SPOC, these two streams are approaching each other. And the last portion, the micro masters and the nano degree, and the mood term was introduced by Professor Pong. So through using MOOC, some universities are providing degree. And so these legacy modality and online modality are converging and coming close to each other. However, this is exception. They are moving to the opposite direction, going apart. Now, the MOOC and SPOC and other initiatives introduced today have an assumption that students take proactive participation. And the students, not only active, but proactive participation is necessary. And variety of MOOC and the SPOC activities can be benefited through proactive participation and involvement, and students can learn and grow. Thinking of the age that I was a student, the situation is completely different. But in Japan, on the other hand, well, maybe I don't know the situation in China, Hong Kong, Korea. I want to hear your input. But as the active learning being promoted in Japan, the students become more dependent. This is one finding through an extensive questionnaire survey. And so promotion of active learning is not necessarily promoting the proactive involvement of the learners. And so the learning environment to help students do proactive learning is being prepared and provided, and some willing students can grow. But on the other hand, some students continue to be passive. They come to the class and participate in the active learning without proactive engagement. And so the gap between these two types of students are becoming bigger. So this, I think, is going to be one major issue that we have to address. Professor Kita talked about the students' learning experience and how should we grasp and understand. Through IR and learning analytics, we can grasp students' learning experience from macroscopic and microscopic level. And in relation to that, what learning experience a student is doing and how they are growing. And we have to grasp the overall situation in order to find out how we should and can address these widening gap between these two types of students. And this was my comment after discussing Professor Kita's questions. Now, as a moderator, I would like to invite comments around this area. And I've received some questions from the floor, so I would like to introduce these questions as well, and as we engage in panel discussion.